You may recall in the last video that we left you with the world's most unoriginal cliffhanger, the old what's in the box trick. Well, you guessed it, it's a new anchor. In fact, it's a 33-pound Rocna. Who knew you can buy just about anything on Amazon Prime these days? On the right is the old anchor, a CQR design. Tests have repeatedly shown that this new generation of anchor design outperforms their older brethren. So with our new ground tackle attached, we headed out to Peddocks Island to anchor overnight and get a head start on the trip to Provincetown the next day. So we're going to try out our new Rocna Anchor by backing down on it. So I'm at 1500 revs now, still 0.0 showing on the GPS. So the other trick that you can use is to find 2 points of reference on shore and see if they move relative to one another. 2400 revs, there's 2500, back down to 2, we've held. We ain't going nowhere. Alright, I think we are pretty well set. So here we are in our first anchorage. It's a bit cold. It's maybe 10-12 degrees. We made it to shore just as the rain started, and it was freezing that night. We took a stroll over to the beach on the other side, and it was calm as a mill pond there, but the wind was due to change overnight, and we ended up having a really calm night at anchor.
I'm surprised by how many houses there are on this island.
How do they get here?
There's no roads.
Then it was time for dinner, and to try and light the alcohol stove. I've only done this once before.
What you doing?
Googling how to light an alcohol stove. After several highly unsuccessful attempts, I had reached a conclusion. Fucking hate alcohol stoves.
Do you like alcohol?
Yes! But eventually, success. Turns out the trick was to just toss a match into the burner.
Good job. You made fire.
I did. Success. Reheated chili, beer, and we're at anchor, and it's raining. Ooh. I think we've just realised this is the first time that we've actually sat at this table as well. A little bit of South Park before bed. The following morning we could see Peddocks by light of day. We got up early and it was time to get going, but not without coffee first. First time making coffee on the boat. We've got an AeroPress and some of the North End's finest ground coffee. Then it was time to weigh anchor. I was a little bit worried about how hard it would be to pull up this new, heavier anchor by hand, but it was easy.
Tabs on your tongue. I heard the shepherds, I heard the sheep sleep. Now my only one. Broken sweethearts, who save apart.
Would not want to run into those.
That's fine to the sleep shots.
Going over there.
Going. Got a really great iron sail down there.
It's a boss.
Yeah.
About halfway out the bay, the wind picked up, and that had us zipping along at 5.5, 6 knots. We also just managed to catch sight of the Pilgrim Monument on the horizon, which is the first sign that you're getting a little bit closer. A little spot of lunch, Greek pasta salad. This sailing business is hard work, huh? This is what sailing looks like in summertime in New England. Woolly hat, foul weather gear, fleece, another fleece, t-shirt, sleeping bag. This is supposed to be our summer. It's freezing. The Pilgrim Monument, sitting 350 feet above sea level, is always the first sight of land that you see when approaching the otherwise low-lying Cape Cod from the north. Of course, it's another few hours between sighting the monument and actually reaching Provincetown. On the way into Provincetown, we spotted through the binoculars just how cluttered the harbour was with moorings. Eventually we found a spot to drop the hook, but it was pretty far from shore. After a quick check on the anchor by dinghy, we spotted smoke billowing out of one of the piers in the town. There's a fire on the dock. Nothing to do with us, I swear. Then it was time for a glass of wine while we watched the commotion from afar.
That evening, we took the dinghy to shore to get some dinner.
Wow, look at those sunburns.
I know, look at my little red nose. Rudolph, what? Rudolph too.
This is us running aground in our dinghy. And this is how far we are from shore. I'd say almost to football field. I just got soaked by a wave. It's not looking good. We are trying a different route into shore. Captain says it's not looking good.
Captain's gonna get his feet wet.
Captain is ready to abandon ship and drag us to shore.
Fuck my life.
It is so cold out there. Like the water just splashed me on my legs and I'm freezing.
Alright, I think this is as far as you're coming.
Really?
Yep.
Alright, I guess I have to take off my shoes then.
Yes, you did.
Alright. About to get these little piggies wet. Oh, that's cold.
Just our luck, we arrived at the lowest tide of the month and discovered just how difficult it is to drag this dinghy up the beach.
We're here in Canteen in Provincetown.
We've just got our dinner for the night. I got a hot lobster roll and has got a fish and chips, like the Brit that he is.
Not quite as good as at home, but it'll do. Really cool place, right on the water. Frozen rosé and a Cape Cod red. Life is good.
Of course, no long sail is complete without the obligatory oysters and creamy pint of stout.
We also managed to see the aftermath of the fire. It had gutted one premises and affected two more at pretty terrible timing, right at the start of the summer season. The trip back to the boat was made infinitely easier by the high tide. The next morning it was into town for a stroll and a quick lunch. Provincetown is an eclectic, artsy and truly fabulous town. It's one of my favourites in New England. The main street is packed full of independent vendors. There's not a chain store in sight. We also caught a glimpse at the absolute carnage wrought by the fire the evening before. This was our breakfast stop. Talk about a coffee shop with a view. This dinghy situation is made a hell of a lot easier by a full tide. We're just pulling out of Provincetown again after a very wet dinghy ride from shore back to the boat. Half-foot swell, very closely spaced, and the little trolling motor just wasn't able to keep up. We were moving at barely even a crawl's pace. So I think top of the list is going to have to be a better motor for the dinghy if we're going to continue to anchor.
I have a question about how much money do you spend in new equipment after each one of these big sails?
Let's not add it up.
But the real point is, how much did you save?
Exactly.
We also know
Giving Catherine a bit of helmswoman experience and heavier weather. How's it going?
Going okay. Big waves.
Although it's difficult to see in the video, we were surfing down waves 3 to 5 feet. This might not seem like very much to the old keyboard salt commenters on YouTube, but to a newbie sailor like myself, this was pretty difficult. By the time we had reached the inner harbor, the seas had diminished, but night was falling and the temperatures were dropping. Thankfully, we've had enough nighttime sails in Boston Harbor to know the channel well. After discovering that this ship was at anchor and not making way, we had a pretty uneventful sail back to our mooring in the inner harbor. And the best part? Making it back late enough for our $1 oyster happy hour at our local.
So that's it for this trip. Our next trip's going to be over July 4th weekend. That gives us a 4-day window. We could go north, we could go south, we could go no, we probably won't go east. At least not on a Catalina 30. Let us know in the comments below if you have any ideas as to where we should head. Thanks for watching.